so if we spend 2 months working on something, we're going to show it to you. So the first thing we're doing is we're going to get the drone to hover 1 meter above the ground and roll.
And these scripts, since we didn't want them to like crash like based on the noise that our scripts give, we had our scripts generate trajectories beforehand, and these are the scripts that we verified, the trajectories that we verified. That's hover. And then next is A to B, which we just picked a bunch of arbitrary points into space, and it's just going to go to them. And then it's going to land at the origin. It's an initial position. Okay.
Nice.
I'm going to change out the battery for this. What?
Popsicle, he says.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this wand, and it's going to go around me. So the Vicon system will know where I am because I'm holding this wand. This will model a person, and the drone will just go around me, hopefully. Okay. Go. So it's going to go there first. I'm going to stand here.
So the second half is a swarm, so I'm just going to help him set up.
And I'm going to replace the battery on these because, as we know, battery lives are very short.
Yeah, the really annoying part of working with these drones is when they're low on battery, they won't kindly say we're low on battery. They'll just start crashing. And then, as we know, super glue is not super, and resin takes 2 hours to dry. So then we just don't have a drone for 2 hours. Now I will preface this by saying that the failure rates for the swarm is significantly higher than the failure rate for a single drone. So it is possible that we lose 1 or 2 drones on this demo, but it's okay. We have 200 spare rotors. Because they always fail. So we have 2 more demos left to show you. The first one is we're just going to get the swarm of drones. Each one's just going to pick a random spot and spread out. And then we're going to tell them to converge at the origin, just like you saw earlier in our static swarm end. And all things going well, they should spread out, collect back at the center, and then land. We have 9 drones because drone number 10 just never cooperated. It would never it wouldn't listen to any of our inputs, and it wouldn't turn off unless you physically unplugged the battery. So it's really weird. All right, let's go. We lift them up in stages because they're pretty close together, and close to the ground, those AC vents mess with them, so we don't want to risk them hitting each other right on takeoff. Okay, and we're going to have to okay. in between each demo, you have to turn them off and on, because while the motion capture system does help them, sometimes it's a little too slow. So the drones also have an onboard IMU. I forget exactly what it stands for. Essentially, it gives the drones a sense of their velocities and their accelerations at any point in time, and it needs to be reset with a level. So we have to turn them on while they're grounded before we fly. Okay, so the next demo is going to be a bunch of drones flying up. They'll swarm around here. I'll put an obstacle in the way, and then they'll fly around the obstacle. Now, ideally, I would use Alan the guinea pig again, but it won't work as well with a swarm of drones because when there's that many in the air, the motion capture system has trouble keeping track of all of them while he's in the way. So we're going to use this, and I'm just going to slide it at a spot, and then the drones will go around it. We see a little wand, but what the drones see is a 6-foot tall cylinder, because I'm really optimistic about my height. And they're about half a meter long in radius. Okay. And I will have a lid. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, fine. Okay, so we have one more. We have one more that we have never tested before. So the chance of failure is above 90%. Okay, but we're gonna do it anyway. Yeah, swarm stop. We're gonna have a swarm of 4 and a swarm of 5, and
We've never tested this one
Never
before
tested
because we just worked on the previous ones to make sure that they were working. And none of them are like broken right now, so now we're
this is the
gonna.
first time that's happened.
Now they will break.
It is possible that the code is here. Run that test it first. Sure. Yes. There is once again an obstacle in the way. They make a very satisfying smack sound when you hit the floor. That was low battery. I'll take it. All right, I think we lost the propeller, but apart from that, no drones were harmed. So at this point, we'd be happy to take any questions you might have. Yeah.
Do you have one AI per drone or just one AI to handle all of the drones?
It's one AI per drone, because the idea is the drone over here can't see the same things the drone over there can see. So the motion capture system, even though it can see everything, is only giving each drone information about obstacles within about a meter.
So each drone has the same scripts running on it. It's just, it's being inputted different stuff.
Yes.
How do you mount the cameras to be like precise enough to see to that accuracy?
Okay, so it's actually mostly in the cameras themselves. They're about 8 megapixels, which is the same as about an iPhone 6s. But that's actually enough. You get about 3,000 by 2,000 something pixels. So it's a lot of pixels to work with. So you don't need that many cameras to get the accuracy. We have 10 in this space. You could probably get away with maybe 6 or 7, but that would be cutting it close. You ideally want more than 2 cameras on each spot. So it's mostly in the cameras themselves.
But like when you hang them, how do you know what position, how spread apart each camera should be?
Okay, so you roughly want to spread them out evenly in the space. They have a field of view about from here to there to that camera. So you want to make sure that you try and get, if you imagine like triangles coming from each camera, you want to get as much overlap as possible in the center. Although the cameras are spread out this much, the actual space we have to work with is, this is the origin, and we get about 1.5 meters in each direction.
Those cameras were actually angled much higher before, but this last week we had to adjust them further down because I had trouble tracking the stuff in the middle.
Yes, so one story I will tell later is Alan and I ran around asking our principal for a ladder. So that was
I think what she's asking here is, how do you know not to move the camera another millimeter or so?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Is that
so,
what?
So I'll tell you what we did. We took this one and we said, okay, I want that camera to be able to see this. And then their software nicely shows you what each camera can see, and then Dr. Gabor gets up there with a ladder, and then he keeps wiggling the camera until we say we can see it, and then we stop.
Oh.
And then we calibrate the system by waving this all around.
What are some applications of this?
Sure. So there's 2 big applications. One is military and defense, and the other one is rescue operations. So if you wanted to search through a building, you would want to use a swarm of drones because they're cheaper, they're nimbler, you can have them spread out, but the problem is there's no really good ways to control them. These ones, 5 to 6 minutes. Actual drones, so for example, a Parrot AR2 drone that you can commercially buy has a battery life of I think around 45 minutes.
So you guys, like, in real world application, would you use the same size drones? Or
No.
would they be much
These are
Would you
waves.
repeat the question?
Would you use drones of this size? No, the reason we use these drones is because they're so small that when they hit the ground hard, they don't break much because they don't have a lot of momentum. In the real world, you would probably use substantially larger drones because you also need to put sensors in them. This drone has nothing except an internal accelerometer.
Yeah, so drones in the real world might have a camera, they'd be bigger, they'd be more expensive.
Can you dynamically add drones to this setup, or do you have to retrain it for a certain amount of drones?
Any number of drones. So we showed you the 50 drone by 50 drone swarm swap. We have videos for 1, 2, 5, and 10, and no code, no retraining was necessary.
Also 100, but then the computer broke.
Why, in your simulation, your drones were like moving sporadically with a swap? Like, why was that?
Okay, so the reason they were moving sporadically in this case is because we model the obstacles as cuboids. And what that means is, against the face of the cuboid, if the drone is close to the face, it has no sense of which direction it should be moving. So it just sort of, what it learns to do is just bounce around until it finds a way around itself.
So it's like in a point of equilibrium, but it's like going side to side. Like,
To try and find a way around. Yes. In the real world, you wouldn't have that problem because you wouldn't model obstacles.
Theoretical price of production for your full size drones?
These drones are 200. Commercial drones are around 1,500 to 2,000. Specific to the application, I haven't spec it out.
200 each?
Yes. Yes.
So irrespective of any possible military application, if you were to reverse the potential field, would it be possible to chase your obstacle instead of avoid it?
Absolutely.
we could make it so that each drone tries to ram into it. It's hard.
Fantastic.
Part of what inspired me to do this project is there was a video on YouTube where a guy got a bunch of Parrot AR drones to fly up into the air, look for his face, and then just head straight towards it.
The YouTuber is Michael Reeves. It is not an appropriate channel, but you'll, yeah.
Let's go with PG-13.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.